No bans coming in for this first map. So that leads me to believe that bans only come in after the first map here. Let me just get a double check for that. And no, I'm incorrect. Coming out of the UNH side, they are banning Cat. Very interesting. We haven't seen any Cat in competitive play from the last week, both from the varsity matches and the JV matches. And no one was playing it. So very interesting to see that on this map. And then additionally, they're banning Winston, it looks like, out of the Daemen University side.
Well, I mean, there is a guy named Winton on UNH, so I guess that all makes sense there. But Jetpack Cat, especially at this rank, is honestly a fascinating play. Just a complete harbinger of chaos, especially for the main tank.
It
Uh,
is.
Displacement, CC everywhere, so I can understand why UNH would not want to deal with that.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to be moving into the game on Busan. Looking in for this first attack, we have a Bastion comp coming out of University of New Haven and a Bastion coming out of Daemen University. This is going to be exciting to see.
Both teams playing with these long-range pick type of main tanks. We got Sigma versus Domina. A Mei wall coming out from Daemon. We're going to see how that helps them close the range.
Absolutely. It looks like Daemen is getting set up on point while we have a Sigma on the Daemen University side. So a little different comp here, but both focusing around this Bastion. Daemen University holding behind the first wall here, and a pick coming out from Winton on the Zen will definitely reduce the damage coming out of Daemen University. It looks like Daemen University is now trying to make a push onto University of New Haven, but without that support, it is a bit hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, this spread that they have here coming out from UNH's side. The Lucio speed boost allows them to take instant control of the point, and now they just have to defend with the Domina shield.
Absolutely. Daemen University back all 5 members of the team. A bit split, though. Bastion and Zenyatta not with Sigma for this initial push. They're going to have to regroup, but not before Denizen gets an amazing pick again on to Hamelcat and another on to NASCAR Racers. This is incredible. An amazing flank coming out of Denizen.
Well, this is really interesting what I'm looking at here, because we mentioned both teams are playing this long, pokey range. That's what Soldier's going to be so good at here. This Mei is just playing on the left side, not really doing anything with her walls. If you're not going to use the walls, switch to a more poke-type comp.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This is a weird map from Mei here. You have to really play close with the rest of your teammates. Daemen University regrouping, going for a fast push onto Slasher. Slasher takes that turret form and is able to get 2.
Wow, I mean, look at this. It's just hard for them to push in. Honestly, they're still here in the main, but they're not really achieving much of anything.
Absolutely not. With those 3 players down, 2 players down, they're not able to get any damage on and are going to have to back up here.
And meanwhile, look at the top left side here. We have a plethora of ultimates coming out from the side as New Haven, as picks just continue to file in for Denizen on the Soldier.
Stagger after stagger, there has not been one real fight coming out of Daemen University's side here. And it looks like they are just going to keep the massacre going.
I mean, we're at 80% now, only a little bit left. I don't believe UNH has had to use a single ultimate yet. This is going to be near impossible for Daemon to take over here.
It's going to be very, very, very hard here. Denizen still on this flank right side. It looks like we have a Mei ult coming out from the side of Daemen University, but Winton will be the only person frozen on the University of New Haven side. Denizen coming out with this Soldier ult, targeting the Bastion in the back line of Daemen University, and there's not even going to be a point touch. Kyle, this is not what you want to see if you're Daemen University.
Whew. I mean, look, we saw a ton of ultimates coming out at the end there as some semblance of a Hail Mary. But really, for the most part of that last match, not even any ults coming out, just a pure one team versus the other in the game of Overwatch, and it was rough from Daemen University. I mean, I would love to look at the team comps here, but honestly, it just seemed like the play style, I'm not sure what they were working with on that Mei.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes down to communication. It comes down to the comms when they're pushing and when they were split.
Well, we're going to see a switch onto the Reinhardt for Daemen University. This is maybe what they are more so looking for with the Mei.
Absolutely. And that Rhine will allow them to be a bit more mobile, a bit more grouped together, but still, New Haven taking a very far push here, holding Daemen University basically in their spawn.
I mean, it's the Lucio speed boost that's so important. You would wish on a Ryan team could get one of those.
Oh my god. Denizen, again with a flank, taking out NASCAR racers, and is now completely behind Daemen University. Bam!
Oh
Another
my
onto Emma.
goodness. I
This
mean, look, you
is
can see the
bad.
Bastion just holding it down on the front line. Denizen can just go wherever he wants without having to worry about pressuring against this Reinhardt, especially without a Lucio to help them maneuver around.
Yeah, and Dennison gets the picks. The healing and the peel out of Daemen University is just not enough to deal with that. Now we see a nice Maywall coming out to block off Winton, but the follow-up isn't going to be there from Daemen University. And again, our very split Emma on the Moira off on the side with no help, and they will get picked. And this should just be a shooting gallery for University of New Haven, but Winton picked out. The rest of his team opting to back up for some reason I could not see there. And with that, Daemen University is rushing onto the point, but Shaking Quake will get taken down quickly with the Bastion in turret form.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a bit of a miscommunication between Winton and the rest of the front line here. I'm not sure why they backed up. I'm not sure why Lucio didn't just speed him out if they were. But the Bastion is just going to do Bastion things anyways. It seems like this Reinhardt has not been able to figure out how to get space with it, just pelting bullets on his shield.
Yeah, we're seeing that same amount of disorganization coming out of Daemon that we saw on that first map, or that first capture point. And it's something where they have to be together, especially with that flanking soldier. This time, it'll be a flanking soldier and a flanking Bastion, leaving Winton on that Domina all by themselves, but not for too long before they move in with the picks onto the backline of Daemon University.
It's just tough. I mean, to have a Domina that is more mobile than a Reinhardt, just
Yeah.
because of the Lucio speed boost, I'm not really sure how you close that distance. We can see the results of it right here. It's going to be a swift 2-0 for UNH.
Yeah, UNH just really holding it together well there, capitalizing on the fact that Daemen University were very disorganized and not able to really do anything about the flanks there. And we'll see Denizen with that play of the game here, taking it on that signature flank, taking out 1, 2, 3 after another each attack.
Yeah, I mean, they say a picture takes 1,000 words. Well, this play of the game tells 1,000 fights because that's just what
Yes.
happened every single time.
Yes.
It's just the pressure on the front line with the Bastion coming out from Slasher allows Denizen to just pretty much do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to worry about pressuring out this Reinhardt, especially with the speed that we have coming, allowing Domina, allowing Winton just maneuver around, not get pushed too far in the front. Denizen just cleaning up the back line with these flanks as Soldier.
Yeah, it was the same thing. I love how you put it. That fight told 1,000 fights, one after another. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Daemen University combat this, right? Opting not to ban the Bastion in that first map because they wanted to utilize it themselves. Possibly looking at UNH's past matches, knowing it's their strong point and saying, we could do this better. But it didn't work. And I don't think it was even due to the Bastion there. Well, there was a lot of damage out from Slasher on that Bastion. The real story is just the disorganization coming out of Daemen University.
Could not agree anymore. I mean, especially when you see the switch onto the Reinhardt here. You're trying to get to the close range, especially with the Mei as well. You're really trying to close the distance here so you could jump on the Bastion, jump on the Domina before they pressure you out with their poke. We just didn't see it. I mean, I think that Lucio pick is really a big one to have on the side of UNH and to not have on the side of Daemon. It just makes it so hard to close those distances. You can see the Reinhardt was really struggling to really get any sort of value out of there with his front line, and the fights never really progressed any far past that point.
No, they didn't. And it looks like we are getting the next map out of Daemen University, their pick. They're going to be going to Kings Row fan favorite, everyone's favorite, and they will be banning Soldier. Now, look, after that last game, I might want to ban Soldier as well. Just the flanks after flanks just led to that downfall of Daemen University. But honestly, I think that could be a ban better used elsewhere, right? While the Soldier was doing a lot of work, it wasn't the main reason they were failing to capture those points.
I mean, look, you're treating the symptom, not the disease, right? It's going to help you in the short term here, especially when you're having a lot of struggles dealing with that flank. Um, but the reason why it's happening in the first place is still a problem you got to deal with. I mean, is this dysfunction? It's having to group and form a team push against the front line. That's really going to be the basis of any comeback that Daemon has here.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I'm going to be very interested to see what they go into on this map. Selecting King's Row, something a little bit tighter, harder to flank on, especially on second points, third point, first point. There's a bit of flanking there, but the rest of them it should be a little bit harder at this skill range. And banned coming out of New Haven, banning Alari. Very, very interesting. I would love to know the reasoning about that for New Haven.
Yeah, I mean, look, it didn't seem like there was much testing to come out to really even figure out what a problem could be. I wonder if this is just maybe a preemptive ban or maybe just something to get them a little bit more uncomfortable on the side of Daemon. But I mean, if you're UNH, you don't want to force them into doing something that might be better than what they're doing now, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I guess we're gonna see on this King's Row.
We will be seeing. And this is, again, a map where Bastion can really shine if UNH decides to go with it. Because it's tighter quarters, Bastion really is able to get pocketed by his teammates, push through any shields, right? Especially if they're playing really tight on UNH side. So it's hard to see what Daemen University is trying to do with the King's Row pick. It might just be something they're more used to. It might be something they're more comfortable to.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of mistake coming out on the side of UNH here, needing to actually ban the characters they chose to ban. But it looks like we are getting all set up into this King's Row fight. And look, like you said, this is the bread and butter of Overwatch, right? This is the default that every tank is going to want to go through here. You just got these front lines, you're going to go down, and that is how it is. You either make the push or you don't. I think if there's any way that we could get a formulated push here coming out from Daemon, it's going to be on this map. I like the pick.
Absolutely. Now, switching over to game feed, we're going to be able to see what these teams are picking. On UNH's side, starting on defense, it looks like they're going to be bringing out a Sigma. I do enjoy this pick, especially after what we saw from Daemen University. It allows them to be a little bit further range, take the fights a little bit slower. We're also going to be seeing an Echo and a Venture, so those flanks are not stopping. On the side of Daemen University, a very interesting comp coming out. Kyle, break it down for me.
I don't know how, if I'm being honest with you. We've got a diva. The jetpack cat is coming in, so we can see why she was banned earlier in the first point. Emmer's going to be really the more stable option here. We've got a sim, maybe looking for some teleports. We're going to have to see.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And Jetpack Cat, Hamel Cat opening up with a attach onto the Diva, bringing her up into the air, but it will get broken quickly. And Winton actually taking a lot of damage on this front line, but we're seeing a slasher flank on the back line getting a lot of damage out, slowing down that push from Daemen University, but not for long. I'm sure they're going to be very eager to push this back in quickly. Winton, again, taking a lot of damage, but in that time, Dennison gets a critical pick onto Hamilcat, taking out one of the supports on Daemen University. And as that's going on, Dennison taking a sneaky flank, looking for that back line, able to get in a lot of damage onto Shake and Quake, actually getting that DMAC.
Well, I mean, that was a magnificent timing on that Winton rock with the dive coming in from Denizen. I mean, look, you're right. Winton's taking so much pressure here. We saw him get down, having to use these cooldowns a ton of times, but it's the flanks that are being timed right from the side of the DPS, continuing to just keep the pressure off him, keep him alive, and we're just seeing them completely wipe them out on the bus here in King's Row.
It doesn't stop Kyle. Slasher and Denizen taking any angle they want and taking the kills with them. I don't know how you combat this from the side of Daemen University. It looks like we have a sim teleporter in, and she's surviving for a long amount of time. There really should have been a pick there, but while that's all going down, Denizen and Slasher doing their work, taking out the rest of Daemen University.
I mean, this is just going to keep on happening here. It's a massive dive coming in from Denizen, and they're going to keep going on the top of Hotel there. You are going to have to clear that if you are Daemen, especially when you've got a diva that can help and fly in there. This is the perfect comp to do it. You've just got to do it.
Denizen setting up for this next flank. A lot of damage already into Daemen University, and with that, Denizen is just going to be able to get 3!
Winton uses the gravitic flux here and whiffs on it, not because there was nobody there, but because they had already died from Denizen's dive. We still have 4 ults about to be coming out from the side of UNH. This is not looking good with 1:48 left on the clock.
No, absolutely not. And it's the same thing. Story after story. Cat coming in, grabs. I can't even tell who that is. It looks like they have the Lucio maybe, but really isn't able to get anything. And Denizen again with a 3K onto the back line of Daemen University. And wow, this is hard to watch. You really want to see some changes coming out of Daemen University here, trying to adapt in any way that they can. But UNH's comp is just so mobile.
Look, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. They fixed the symptom, not the disease. It's a team comp thing here. We have to think here. We've got Winton on the top, Grad coming in for the top.
They swapped it up.
You have to check your angles before you push in.
Winton said, you guys had your fun. It's my turn now. Going up in their hotel. That top rock line, I loved it. And just clears them. Instantly taking 2 out with just his primary fire. Now we have an Emery ult coming out from the side of Daemen University. But it's going to be hard to get any value out of that.
Oh, I meat, look, if I'm Daemen here, I just want to see one fight where maybe they don't repeat the same cycle again. At least go down a different path, a different Jor out of the spawn zone. Just something, shake something up to throw the flankers off their game here. They're gonna get fluxed while they're in their spawn room. This is just not looking good.
Now look, you have to take any advantage you have, but this is a bit of bad manners coming out of New Haven. Flux and spawn, come on. But that won't stop them from continuing to clear up Daemen University. 7 seconds on the clock, and they are not even going to be able to leave spawn.
It's going to be a quick full hold for UNH here. Wow, I mean, look, there's only so many ways you could describe the same situation here. It's gonna be more of the same thing. I mean, look, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing multiple times and expecting a different result, right? I understand that King Zero is maybe a little bit narrow, a little bit straightforward for a map, as we talked about. But, you know, you could go up the hotel on the top right side. You know, you have a little bit more mobility with the Jetpack Cat, Moira with the Diva. I mean, I'm just looking to shake something up to try to stop Denizen and Slasher from just bearing on top over you from this headquarters that they've set up on the hotel. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe things change on this defense here, but it's got to start now.
Got to start now, and it's all for a draw. Not even a single tick captured on that attack from Daemen University. And you're absolutely right. It's going to be very hard to hold this. Maybe even almost impossible. We've seen far greater comebacks, even in our time playing Kyle. So I'm holding out faith.
Well, they're going to set up a car wash here going into the front with Symmetra. They switch to the Reinhardt for a bit more stability. The Roadhog is going to try to pressure them out here. We're going to see how it plays out.
And Hulk comes out! Oh! Takes out the Moira from Daemen University. Slasher actually finishing that kill on Symmetra, able to confirm it. And Slasher and the rest of UNH is just on the point with that teleporter. And bam, 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 explosions everywhere, taking out Daemen University.
Well, it's going to be a quick 2-0 start to this game coming out from UNH. And look, I mean, when you're on your back foot, when you're scrambling to get any semblance of results, anything that takes you off of your beat here, anything that surprises you, no matter how dumb it seems, is going to throw you off. And they're just going to teleport right onto the point and immediately just dismantle the defense on the side of Daemon here.
Yeah, it was hard, but honestly, great clip farming from UNH. If I was UNH, I'd be going back to this stream and getting all those 3Ks and putting it in my 3-minute YouTube montage with the song in the background, Imagine Dragons from Imagine Dragons. That's what I would be doing.
Yeah, I mean, look, you mentioned it earlier. Everyone's got level 5 endorsement ratings. I would not be surprised to see that drop by the end of today.
Absolutely. I mean, probably straight to it after this. I mean, if you go back on my YouTube channel, there is at least 3 Overwatch montages, all set to Imagine Dragons songs. And that was the meta in 2016. That was the meta, and I'm surprised you don't have one, Kyle.
Well, you know, I may not have one of those, but gosh, I mean, it's never too late, right? We're Overwatch 1 guys casting Overwatch 2 here, and it seems like this is still happening these days.
They dropped the 2 from Overwatch, and now we're back to Overwatch 1, which means Overwatch compilations with Imagine Dragons in the background is back. We're going to drop one on the YouTube channel after this, just to make sure that it gets its credit. Now, moving into what could be the last map of this series, we're going to Coliseo, not Calioso, as I said last stream, Coliseo. And it looks like the first ban coming
it's an
out
Overwatch 2 map.
is going to be Venture. So banning that Venture. Dennison, they ban his characters. They ban the Soldier. They ban the Venture now, but they can't ban the Flank.
Exactly. I mean, look, this is I don't want to repeat myself again, but it's the same thing where you're treating the issue, but not really the root of the problem. It doesn't really matter what Denizen is playing as long as you allow him to continue to do that. You're going to get results out of any hero even resembling a flanker. And this is what we're going to see. I mean, I don't know if he's just going to go straight back to maybe a soldier, or maybe he's going to play like a Genji or something. But they're all just different flavors of the same product.
Yeah, absolutely. And then coming out of the UNH side, they're going to be banning Reinhardt. So taking that out of the battlefield for Daemen University. And at this point, it's hard to see how there will be an impact at all from either of these bans.
Yeah, I mean, look, we saw Daemon roll out the Sigma earlier on the first point. This is going to be a bit of a poke map, I would presume, especially seeing how we saw the varsity team playing Coliseo just last week. So maybe this Sigma is something that they're looking to play on here. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. But I think maybe that would have been a bit more effective than a Reinhardt that has not been working so far for Daemon.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Coliseo, it's very different from the 2 game modes that we've played so far. It's going to allow for some faster team fights, so giving Daemen University a chance to go again and again and again at a much faster pace. Now, will that be to their benefit or destruction? It could allow UNH to just run this down and close this map off in 3 minutes. We're going to be moving to the game and looking at what both teams are playing with here. Kyle, break it down for me.
Well, it looks like we're going to see a Zarya here, which I wonder is in response to that Reinhardt ban, figuring they're going to play Sig, figuring maybe they play D.Va. My God, that would be disastrous for the side of Daemon.
It would be
we have
really
a Widow
bad.
coming out for Daemon. I don't know. It seems like they're
I'm
grasping
ready.
at straws here.
No,
But we'll see
I'm
the
ready.
results.
This is going to be 5 headshots off the bat, and I have faith in it, and I'm not joking. Here we go. Both teams moving to the robot. NASCAR Racers taking a far back sniping angle here, looking for that first shot, taking their time, taking a shot onto the Zarya. It's a miss. That's fine. You whiff the first one, you go for the second. Trying to SMG down long range, but as that's happening, Slasher goes in for a quick dive onto NASCAR Racers and gets the kill. This is going to allow UNH to really move up a lot faster here, and they do. Winton closing in on the remainder of Daemen University as Slasher continues to poke them down, and that is going to be the first fight going the way of UNH.
Now, I just want to remind everyone here, as we saw the varsity team play this map earlier, they were using a Domina, looking for those long hallways. They did not push around this corridor much past their first ever push. I think the Zarya is going to allow them to continue to take these fights and maybe push this payload all the way to the end.
Absolutely. In this environment, I don't see UNH stopping. I see them pushing and pushing. This Zarya already taking such a far up angle with high energy too, and it's going to be very hard to get her out of this. Slasher again with a pick on to NASCAR racers in the backline as Denizen gets another, and they're in. They're basically in their spawn. Denizen might get punished for it. He does, but not before Denizen takes out 2 members of Daemen University.
My god, Slasher already with the pulse bomb, first to the ultimate in the lobby. I wish you would do this in our comp games when we queued together, but we've got Winton pushing up to grab on the front side right outside of spawn. Is going to get anyone? I don't think so. Winton getting low. I'm not sure how many bubbles she's got, but this is going to be bad news if Winton goes down this early in this fight.
It would, but it wouldn't be the end of the fight. Slasher still in the back line, looking to take out NASCAR racers. Again, 3-0 in that 1v1 for Slasher. Winton does go down, but it looks like New Haven is going to be able to hold this. Mayalt coming out from the side of Daemen University, forcing New Haven to back up just a bit, maybe waiting a second for Winton to get back, but Slasher's still in, and he is an assassin taking out Shake and Quake. It does get the res in, but that will deny them a res for this next upcoming fight. University of New Haven taking the time to regroup.
I mean, very quietly, Slasher kind of stalled them out a little bit here. They didn't get much progress. They're still not in the bend just yet, and Malgia goes down before the fight really even starts. It's a trade, but the Bastion goes down as well, and there's just zero frontline pressure coming out now after those picks. This is going to be very fast retake on the side of UNH.
Yeah, with no tank on the side of Daemen University, it's going to be hard to hold that, especially with that Zarya with a decently high charge, and it's just, it's the same thing we've been seeing, Kyle.
I mean, look, we're going to have 4 ults coming in here on the side of UNH once more. You got to try to force one of those out at the very least. But you got to take a fight early here so that you can get another one out before you lose.
Denizen being real confident, going in with that tactical visor, gets pressured out though. Slasher tries to land that pulse bomb, but doesn't get anything. Might be able to confirm a kill though on NASCAR racers. 4-0 in that duel up. Now, the rest of UNH is able to just continue pushing down Daemen University. Sound Barrier comes down in response. Probably didn't even need it. And this will be the last fight before UNH closes out the series and takes Coliseum.
Well, NASCAR Racers has the ultimate. That's going to be the one crying shot, the one Hail Mary hoping, and I'm not even sure it's even going to come out as they continue to push out on the end here. The grab onto the spawn room again, and UNH is going to take an commanding 3-0 lead here.
Wow, wow, wow. Now, I said this in the beginning. This could be a great matchup for Daemen University or a horrible one, just getting rolled down. And it looks like it was exactly that, a roll down on the side of University of New Haven. And that will be the series, a clean 3-0 sweep for University of New Haven. And, you know, I love to see it as a New Haven fan, but this gives Daemen University a lot of opportunity to look at this, how they can improve, and go into this next week using on that Ana is able to get a lot of value as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, as we're going to be moving into our first point, which is going to be control center, this, compared to at least the other two, is a very closed off indoors, close quarters match. So I think it really benefits either a brawl with a Lucio, which I know that New Haven was running all of last match, or maybe try to take this high ground with a little bit of poke and just stick your DPS on top of it. Winton showing a little bit of flash on the Ramatra. I'm not sure that we're going to continue to see that.
I don't
Um,
think so. And it looks like we
yeah,
are
but
ready to move into game and check out what both teams are going to be playing here. So, moving over, it looks like, as I predicted, Winton on that Sigma and Denizen, the one taking up the reins of that Bastion.
wow, I mean, this is very interesting. We do have a venture in the lobby, but it's not Denizen. It's going to be Kanji on the side of Montclair. Ramatra coming out from Chosen. We're going to see how this poke tank face-off matches out.
Yeah, and I actually really, really like the comp coming out of MSU here. They have a very fast comp here, and with a lot of damage coming out of the Sojourn and the Venture here. Now, both teams are meeting in the middle. It looks like New Haven is able to take a little bit more space, and Slasher, a pick immediately onto Kanji, the Sojourn on MSU's side. Damage coming out onto Chosen on that Ramatra, forcing them to back up, and this should be able to be easily won from New Haven, picking off Chosen.
Wow, I mean, it's just kind of chaos. We knew both teams were going to try to take that high ground, right? But when you've got the Lucio on the side, this time it's Undertaker playing it for New Haven. They get there first, and they just totally take control.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving into this next fight, out of MSU, they switched to that Reinhardt. I like that a little bit more from the Ramatra, a little bit more point presence. Chosen charging in, trying to get his team up onto the high ground here, where MSU is holding strong. They have the Bastion, they have the Sigma, and they're putting a lot of damage out onto MSU, forcing them really just to walk back and forth. Chosen taking initiative, trying to move to point, but he gets punished for it. Chosen moving in, getting a pick, or Goggles getting a pick onto 3 members of MSU with an amazing dash in and confirmation. Wow.
I mean, that's 2 times now that we've seen Kanji on the Venture try to go and try to create some chaos on the top line, but Denizen was in his turret form and completely forces him out. Goggles, on the meantime, shows them in, going in, this is how you dive.
Yeah, coming into this next fight, it looks like MSU is taking a little bit different approach, and they're able to get a pick because of it onto Goggles, that MVP of the last fight. Now, it looks like Denizen uses the Bastion ult early, trying to pressure out MSU. Katsune coming out of New Haven's side to try to push in on these low characters on the side of MSU, but no confirmed kills coming in. Icy on the side of MSU, using that Soldier ult in the back line to try and get a couple picks, but it's for naught. The sound barrier comes out from Undertaker and keeps all of New Haven up there. That was a back and forth, a lot of opportunity from both sides to end that fight.
Yeah, I mean, we see the rush coming out and the overclock just trying to get them to back up off the high ground, but the counter rush comes out and they just do not budge. We're going to 90% here, and they haven't even thought about coming off the high ground.
This is going to be last fight, and they're going to have to come in quick. A huge charge out from Chosen, but they are able to kill him before he's actually able to confirm that kill onto Winton. Now we're going to see ults come out from both sides here, but Denizen and Goggles are able to get the first kills onto MSU, and with the ult coming out from Winton on that Sigma, it's all but confirmed for New Haven.
I mean, honestly, I saw maybe a little bit of back and forth in terms of who's got the momentum going into the fight, but if you were to press tab here, we've got 1 elimination on the side of Montclair here. It's just going to be that 1 overclock pick onto Goggles, and I mean, once you saw New Haven get onto that high ground, there was just no budging them off of it.
No, and honestly, we saw that entire fight, that entire control point, with not even a single Genji blade going off. That's how quick that was. And look, we did see some good fights coming out of MSU. I won't deny that. They were able to go in, they were able to get fights set up in the way they wanted, but New Haven just outperforming them even in those.
Well, we're going to stick with the Reinhardt here, and we're going to see Reaper coming out from Kanji. Just kind of a different style of this Venture dive here. Denizen going to the Venture, no more Bastion, and we're going to see them go on different sides, meeting together at the point.
Yeah, absolutely, and I like this Reaper switch here. If they play this comp correctly, they have a lot of brawl and a lot of damage. Chosen coming in for a quick move in on Winton. A charge coming in, it gets nothing, but he's able to cancel it and keep this point presence. Now, a lot of damage coming in from the New Haven side, able to keep Chosen back, and the rest of MSU kind of in a holding position, while Denizen goes in and gets a pick with Slasher getting a headshot onto Kanji as well, and this should be a cleanup out of New Haven.
Wow, I mean, Denizen switching off the Bastion, still getting just as much worth out of it. We saw this time, maybe the Lucio didn't quite help them as much getting onto the point as quick as it did last. Just a total stalemate until a couple of seconds in, and then just the team exploded.
It was back and forth there for a minute, but the damage coming out of New Haven is immense onto the side of MSU. MSU opting to take this left path here to try and fight in a little bit closer quarters, get to point a bit faster. But before any of that can happen, Kanji gets picked out by Winton. That's an amazing first pick, and this should cause MSU to hold in this room and wait for that Reaper to come back. But they can't. Goggles just in on that backline, another pick. And honestly, if I was New Haven, I would go in to clean this up, and it looks like that's what they're getting prepared to do. Denizen, another pick onto Icy. Goggles onto Wall of Flesh, backing and clearing out MSU.
Wow, I mean, look, we've talked about hoping for some flexibility on the side of UNH, and this Goggles Genji with the Denizen Venture is doing wonders in terms of helping them flank here. I'm loving this new look.
Yeah, and we have Chosen on MSU switching to this Roadhog. I'm not a fan of this pick. It's going to be very hard to get hooks here with that Sigma shield, and also to confirm the kills onto any of these players on the New Haven side. Now, it looks like MSU is opting to go in that left room again. A hindered chain coming out onto Goggles, but no follow-up with that.
Well, I mean, look, we have every ultimate in the bag here coming on the side of UNH. It's going to be hard to take over, even with your life on the line.
Rush coming out from New Haven, but in return, a Lucio ult from New Haven. This is a back and forth fight, but Denizen with that Venture ult clears out two members of MSU, and a third coming in as well. And even with all the ults from both sides here, New Haven is cleaning up this battle, securing second point in the map for New Haven.
Wow, I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm loving this. Somehow, even though we just had a match coming off earlier that was a roll, this one has a bit of a different feel to it. There's more action in this one. I'm loving how UNH is setting the tempo for themselves here, especially with the DPS. We saw Goggles on that Genji that entire match, just doing wonders in the back line. Denizen switching to that Venture, doing a wonderful job of getting under their skin, just as we talked about in the pregame. Just one Elim coming out from the side of Montclair. Something's got to change.
Wow, one Elim is crazy. I did not take note of that. And again, I'll say, from Montclair, I saw much better engages than the previous series we watched with New Haven. They were able to stay a bit more grouped, they weren't getting flanked as much, and they were getting ready for some great battles. Even that last fight, setting up with that Kiriko ult coming out of Montclair first, before any ults come out from New Haven. It was great, but New Haven was able to out-ult them and outperform them and get picks before really the battle even started in a lot of those fights.
Well, I mean, look, let's break this down for a little bit here. When you were playing with a Reinhardt, when the other team's got two dive characters that are going to try and get in position, trying to get under your skin, and you've got the Sigma with the rock, with the poke damage, with the shield, you got to take these fights fast. I mean, I'm looking at the first point here, right? That first fight going into that, or excuse me, the last point, first fight. We saw them kind of both enter the point at the same time, kind of reach a bit of a stalemate. And as the fight just continues to wind down, the advantage grows on the side of UNH. And you saw just a couple of seconds later, the entire team from MSU just completely fell apart. And that's what I'm looking at here. If you're going to play the Reinhardt, you got to be fast. You got to get Worth in as fast as you can.
And honestly, I saw that out of Chosen. Chosen was going in with the charges, trying to take space, but it seemed like there was a disconnect from the rest of the team there. Maybe some bad communication inside those comms, or maybe just too much damage coming in, forcing the remainder of the team not being able to follow up with Chosen on that Reinhardt. And then when you make that switch to the Hog, I just don't think it works.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's a bit of a desperation play, right? When you have one Elam going into the second point, um, you have to see if you can do something here, put it in your own control. So I'm not going to blame him too much for that one. I do agree with you. I actually like the presence that Chosen had on that Reinhardt. It just didn't feel like the team as a whole was really looking to complete those objectives that we talked about.
They just weren't moving in together at the speed we needed to break down New Haven's comp. With that Sigma alone, oftentimes, because Goggles and Dennison were looking for those flanks or those off angles, if you just walk over that Sigma, force out Suzu, force out speed from the Lucio, and just isolate him down, or just have them to back up, that's what you need to do before you can get picked from the back line. And to do that, you need to stick together closely. Now, moving into map 2, we will be going to New Junk City, and we will actually see a tank swap, swapping out Chosen for Corvus. How this is going to change the gameplay moving into map 2, we have yet to see. It might be a different tank pool that they're looking to utilize on, or just a different swap up within the comms, or just team composition.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about it with Chosen. I do want to quickly mention this is now the second game in a row where we've seen a team run a Reinhardt with no Lucio or speed game, maybe even from Juno. I just think it's tough to really establish a presence against a poke tank, especially when they have a Lucio and they're outmaneuvering you as the brawl team.
Yeah.
I I mean, we're gonna see maybe if there's a little bit of a different look coming in, a little bit less brawl. With this tank switch coming out from Corvus, we're in New Junk City. It's gonna be a fast-paced map. I'm not sure what they're gonna play, but hopefully it's gonna be a different look.
Yeah, and again, that control map was so fast. 99-0 for both control points. Moving into New Junk City, I'm expecting it to go just as fast, if not faster. These games are going so quick, and for Montclair, that puts them in a hard position. Not really having the time in between fights to calm what can we do differently? What can we switch up? If this was a hybrid map, for example, or payload, you have that downtime. On Flashpoint and Control, it's go, go, go. So I know they have to go Flashpoint here, but I think it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, look, especially on a map like this on Flashpoint, you got to thrive in the chaos. And it's hard. You know, when you're losing, when you're trying to pull it together, sometimes you get caught just going through the motions. Anything out of the ordinary takes you by surprise. That you just cannot allow that to happen on New Junk City. You're not going to have the time to regroup. You have, as a team, you have to base yourselves in a foundation that thrives in this chaos, that continues to have a stable heartbeat, even when you're losing.
Yeah, it's hard. Now, first band coming out of Montclair is going to be the Bastion band. Now, maybe they're watching the stream, maybe they've done some research on New Haven, but that is big because I would be expecting them to play Bastion into this next game if necessary, if it comes to it. We didn't see it from that first map, and we didn't see them have to swap to it because of that decisive victory, but we know Bastion is a strong core of New Haven's abilities and main compositions.
Well, I mean, look, since I've been a guy that's talked about the Bastion on the side of New Haven, I have to call this out when I see it. Um, that Goggles Genji and that Denizen Venture was outstanding.
Yeah,
Like, we talked about how much they depend on Bastion. They just showed it in that last fight. They really don't need it, at least with this duo here coming out from the front side. I see the Genji and Venture being a wonderful team composition here going into New Junk City.
yeah. What I saw out of Goggles there, especially the first map of the night, was amazing. He was playing Genji at a level that I don't think I've seen in any CC or ECC yet. They were really able to capitalize on the dashes going in and finishing off targets, which can be hard at this rank, especially against an organized team in a match setting.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to be going into New Junk City in just a couple seconds here as we ramp things up. Um, but I'm looking for more of the same from New Haven. I don't want to switch things up. When we saw some very solid results going in here, I don't see a map that forces you to switch things up. I think you're just going to wait to see if MSU has any kind of response.
Yeah, out of New Haven side, they are going to be banning Reinhardt, something that we knew that Montclair was preferring to play. They ended up switching off to the Roadhog because it just wasn't working. But we do have Corvus in now, new tank player. Reinhardt might not even be what they are looking to prefer. So interesting band coming out. Now, we are going to be moving into game and checking out exactly what compositions both teams are going to be running. Kyle, run it down for me.
I mean, we've got two poke tanks here, just as you would expect. Winton going to the Daemen, a little bit of a different flavor of the same meal. But Corvus is going to stay on that Sigma. One thing I want to point out here is we've got a Jetpack Cat coming in. We're going to see if that creates any chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be very interesting to see. And they switch off onto the Brigettes before the map starts. I would love to see Jetpack Cat again. We haven't seen much of it. And this is going to be interesting. Winton onto that Domina. I'm not a huge fan of Domina here, but at this rank in an organized setting, it might work.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see if the Lucio maybe helps cover some of her weaknesses as they get to the point first, but it's going to be a big Nano Suzu coming out, and they're going to have a little bit more presence here on the side of UNH.
And oh my god, while both tanks are looking at each other, Goggles goes in and takes out two players, able to take out the Brigette and the McCree on the side of Montclair. But picks are trading back and forth. Winton able to take down one of the players on New Haven, and Dennison able to come back in and take down the remainder.
Yeah, I mean, I think we get a little bit too hasty here, and Anna getting a 2K, but we're still going to see New Haven take control of this point here. The side of Montclair is really just taking a breath here. They're still playing on the Brigida. They're going to see if they can come in now, stop the dives of Goggles and Denizen.
Yeah, and that was exactly what I would want to see out of Goggles there. Well, both tanks are looking at each other, able to get that flank and confirm some kills. And really, it's something that shouldn't be happening on the side of Montclair. Now, moving in, Winton able to get an amazing orb onto the Venture on Montclair's side, and it's now just poking down the rest of the team, forcing them to back up. Now, I said I'm not a huge fan of Domina, but Winton is playing it right and playing it well.
I mean, when you see Domina here on this choke point, entering the entire point objective, it's just going to be hard. You can't avoid that shield. I don't know how they're going to adapt around this.
No, and only 5% left now on the control, and Montclair isn't going to be able to touch. New Haven takes the first point.
I mean, look, when you have a Domina that gets set up, it's just going to be hard to play at her pace. You have to outpace her a little bit. Get in there before she gets all set up. It's going to be hard with the Lucio only on one side, the side of New Haven.
Moving on to the second point, both teams are beginning to get set up. We have 5 on both sides, and it looks like this is going to be another battle of the shields on point. We have to see if Goggles and Dennison can get this flank, but a huge sleep out of Wall of Flesh onto Goggles takes him out of the fight, and Dennison is nowhere to be seen. Somehow, though, Undertaker able to take out the Venture on the side of Montclair, maybe giving hope, but none after Corvus takes out Winton, and now Montclair taking the point.
Yeah, this is where we're going to see that Domina come into a little bit of trouble. Now that Sigma has the point, has the ability to get set up, it's going to be hard for Domina to initiate.
Yeah, and that is exactly what you need to see out of Honor, Wall of Flesh on Montclair's side. Just shutting down these flanks from New Haven. We have another fight coming in now. Both Sigma and Domina looking at each other. Goggles getting low and probably forced out of the flank he was looking for. Visor out on the side of Dennison. It's able to get good damage in, and Slasher somehow able to sneak a kill in during all of that. This is going to allow New Haven to begin to push up and confirm this point. Dennison, a pick onto Kanji, the Venture on Montclair's side as they were looking to finalize a kill. But this is just fight after fight, pick after pick for the side of New Haven.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough one for your Sigma to go down that fast. They're going to try and see if they get a little bit of a fast re-engage here. Denizen going down. We still have some ults on the side of New Haven to maybe stave this off, but Sigma's going to advance anyways.
Icy getting a great pick onto Lucio here on the side of New Haven, and Winton all alone now, getting damaged out and picked for it. This is what we needed to see out of Montclair. Now Goggles comes out with the blade, and it is able to confirm one, and Dennison is able to take out another, but this is going to be hard. But as I say that, another one comes out of Goggles, and all that's left on the side of Montclair is Corvus. That was a back and forth fight, and somehow New Haven, with the help of Alts, confirms it.
Yeah, Steven, I think you underestimate the Goggles Genji Blade. That was an unbelievable turnaround from Goggles on that Genji Blade, completely pressuring 3 down till it's just the Sigma on left. Now, we still have 3 ults on the side of Montclair here, and if they want to overtake this Dominus Shield, they have to be fast.
And just as that fight begins, Icy takes out Goggles and another with Deadeye. This is going to be an easy move to point for Montclair, and pick after pick comes out and takes out New Haven.
My God, I forgot just how fast these flashpoint maps are. We still have 2 ults coming out on the side of New Haven. If they want to overtake this, they still also have to be faster. They've only got 10% left, but I think they're just going to wait it off. Can see this as 1-1. The ult coming out, keeping them off the point, but they get a last-second touch.
Last second touch, alt used here from Corvus to try and hold them off, but the fight moves to the point. Slasher with another amazing pick somehow. Will it be enough? I can't tell yet. Corvus taking a lot of damage on point, but the Ana is able to keep him up until now, going down to Rain. This could be anyone's fight, but Denizen booped off the map by Rain on Montclair's side. Still, it's up in the air for whose side this will go for. Winton trying to hold down the point and trying to damage out Rain on Montclair's side, but this might look like an uphill battle, and just like that, Winton goes down, and this should be the point for Montclair. Wow.
My God, that was a close match, just a battle of 2 teams trying to stay alive as long as they can. You saw Winton trying to out-sustain on that dominant, but just was not able to last long enough for the supports to come back in.
It was really back and forth. Hard to see what was happening from the player's point of view there. We're moving into the third flashpoint here. Both teams 1-1. This is going to be very influential. Moving into this fight, we do have Dennison with that visor, but that's really the only thing we have on the board. Both fights starting, Winton and Corvus taking that shield 1v1, but quickly repositioning from the Montclair side. Winton going in for a push, and Dennison is able to capitalize off it, and now a visor coming out. He's getting chased down by Corvus, but not for long as the visor takes him out, and with Corvus down, Dennison is just able to clean up the fight uncontested.
Look, I love the concept. I think when you've got a Dominus set up with the shield up, you have to take a different angle here. I like the rotation, but I think they just were a little bit off, and you saw Wall of Flesh get caught there by the Denizen flank on the back line, and that spells the end for that first push.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're going to be seeing a lot of the same here. Winton and Corvus looking to take this shield fight to start things off. Montclair going down mid now, looking to go up the ramp and take high ground. We have a very deep split from both teams here. Winton and Corvus beginning to take that fight, while the DPS of New Haven in the backline, Dennison and Goggles able to take down 3-4 players on this side of Montclair. Wow, I loved the play-by-play there.
Yeah, I mean, look, the more I'm looking at this, the less I like it for the side of Montclair. When you have this entire room available for you, you have to avoid the dominant setup, but also if you go on other sides, the Genji's just going to eat you alive, and that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I don't like the split from the side of Montclair. I really would want to see a closer group team so they could fight off that Genji and poke out the soldier if he tries to take a flank. Now, New Haven confirms that second point, and both teams quickly looking to take the third.
Yeah, I mean, looking into this, we've got a ton of ultimates. This is looking to be a heavyweight bout to see who gets first control of this map. It's going to be New Haven that takes initial control of it. We're going to see if any ults come out, but it's going to be Kanji who comes down too fast for the ult to come out, and instantly the Dominant's going to set up. It's going to be hard to overtake.
Going to be very hard. With that pick down on Kanji, they have much less damage to try and break through here. Now, Goggles barely getting out with 15 health as he will try to go and confirm a couple kills, but Winton able to support him and take down Corvus, and with that shield down, the rest of New Haven goes in and cleans up the battle.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not seeing enough from this Venture on the side of Kanji to support this. If you're going to be playing that poke against a Domina who plays that poke so well, you have to have all hands on board, and it's just going to be hard to break through that barrier without it.
Yeah, it really is, and we're seeing Kanji get picked off again and again. It really makes you think if that's the hero you want to play. Now, Goggles going in through the entire team of Montclair and not getting punished for it. Domina ult coming out from the side of New Haven, and now Sigma ult, Nano Sigma ult coming out from Montclair. It looks to try and take down Winton, but he gets supported. He gets out. Goggles going down to a new high noon in the back line, and this is going to allow Montclair to start to push in. That was ults from both sides there. A really messy fight, but it looks like Montclair is going to be able to clean it up, even as Dennison takes that visor and a pick onto Icy. I don't see it going his way.
Yeah, that was maybe a little audacious on the side of Denizen. A ton of ult coming out of the way. Goggles keeps his Genji Blade along with the Kiri path. We're going to see if we get a combo here, but I'm loving how the Brig is looking so far.
It's really good. And Goggles finally getting punished, it looks like, for going in deep there. Now, Wall of Flesh on that Kiriko, a early pick onto Undertaker. Corvus getting a lot of damage in here, but the support is there to keep him up. This fight in close quarters is going Montclair's way, even as Dennison looks to take those off angles. New Haven looking to set up again for this next fight.
Look at Kanji all the way off on the right side here. We're going to see if maybe there's an ult coming out on the side. It's going to be coming out on the back side, but I'm just not seeing a ton of value coming from it.
Kanji using that Venture altar or trying to and getting nothing of value from that flank and almost getting picked down now, and she does.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to see Winton just barrel through this front line here. Sigma goes down, as does the Venture, and the Path is going to finalize the job here. They need to take it over before we get to 99% here, and it looks like they're going to do just that.
They finally are able to touch point and take down the remainder of Montclair, but this is going to be a very tight push to try and get back on the point. I don't know if they have it.
I don't think they do. I mean, they have to try, right? They have the ults to take it over. We're going to see a touch coming in from Venture's side, and we're going to need to survive long enough to get those ults, those 85%. Blade comes out, and that is going to be the match.
Wow, just getting melted down there, even with Sigma ult coming out, and that was much closer than the first map. Even with New Haven taking that win, I know they had to work for it.
I really liked flashes of this Brig coming out, just really helping this Sigma overwhelm this Dominant in the front line. But I saw most of it coming out with these rallies. It was just hard to get more pressure on that front line without it. Yeah, I as you said, I really liked the look of Montclair and how they were switching things up. But man, that Goggles Genji is something else, isn't it?
It was good. It was really good. Dennison not able to get as much value as we've seen previously, which really complements and really plays into how well Montclair is playing here, but not able to punish Goggles now. Time and time again, Goggles would literally just dash in to the entirety of Montclair, which you have Sigma Rock, you have Brig Bash, you have Honest Sleep and Nade. You have to punish him for that, but we didn't see it.
Well, I think, we've been talking about trying to get pressure on this front line here. I feel like the Brig, the Sig, were maybe too distracted on trying to stronghold this Domina, try to push through it, and Goggles just, with all that open space, it's just a feast, honestly.
While we're getting ready to see what the next map and bans will be, it looks like we are going to have a swap coming out of the New Haven side, swapping out Slasher for Nando. Now, I really did like what I saw out of Slasher there, sneaking in some picks when it was least expected on that Kiriko, but I know Nando will take up that mantle and keep everything together for New Haven.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of Nando coming out, on I believe a scrim that we saw earlier. We saw some Ilyari gameplay. I'm not sure if that's exactly what we're going to see coming into this next fight, but it looks like they're going to try to switch things up. I'm sure they don't want to change too much given the success that they've had on these first two maps, but also I most certainly would not want to underestimate MSU. I think they've been improving every single map.
Yeah, and this is for all of it. Montclair has to take this next map, which will be Esperanza, going to a push map. Now, Kyle, These have been such quick games. We're through 2 games already, and they have barely been playing for 30 minutes. And push, this is going to be just as quick.
Gosh, I mean, it's gonna be tough for you and I to keep talking through
Yeah.
all this. Look, as we get into Esperance here, I'm still looking at the same reports. I'm still looking at Venture. I'm still looking at Genji. These are the characters that I think are going to decide New Haven's play style here. Maybe MSU, you saw the switch to Brig as maybe an attempt to try and resist some of that, but I think you need to change the play style if you're really going to focus on it.
Yeah, it's really hard. What I would want to see out of Montclair here is the punishment. The punishment for Goggles, the punishment for Denizen taking those off angles. And I think they have it in them. We saw it there. They were able to capture 1 point at least. And they were very close to capturing that last one there as well before getting out-alted, outplayed. I think they have it. They might be able to pull it together on this push map. I think it comes down to a couple composition changes. I don't know if the Venture is the best pick there for them to play, and just keeping up the team cohesion. Don't let those 2 losses get to you. Stay focused for this last win and bring it back.
I mean, sneaky, I wonder if they're going to try to bring back the Bastion here. I always don't want to say it. It feels like an evil word to say at this moment in time, but I mean, it's not banned anymore. At least I don't think they can ban the same hero 2 times in a row. So we're gonna see maybe Denizen switch back to Bastion. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I was playing for Montclair right now, I would say ban that Genji. I'm not always a fan of, as you put it, banning the symptoms, not the root cause. But from what we saw, if they are really looking internally and saying we cannot punish this, you gotta ban it. You have to, and I think if they do, it opens up a lot more counterplay for them to play into that poke.
I mean, be honest. What else are you gonna ban? Maybe Domina. Um, but we've seen
They just go
Goggles
Sig.
only played this Genji, right? We haven't really seen anything else from him. I think at this point, especially when your backs are against the wall 2-0, you got to force New Haven to show you some new looks, see if they can get uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it's something where even if they ban the dominant instead, Winton just goes Sig, and it's much of the
Exactly.
same. Maybe a little bit less damage out, but still, the presence on the point is still there. An amazing ultimate there with the Sigma ult, and I think they have to ban the Genji here.
Now, one thing I also want to mention is we also saw New Haven play this map for a scrim, and we saw, or I believe maybe it might have actually been the last match against Purdue. I think they played the Winston here. They tried to play a little bit of a dive, and it didn't work out. They didn't win, but I saw some flashes.
And it was something where I like to see it, but it wasn't my favorite, right? It was back and forth, and it was a scrim, and it's hard to see how that converts into actual match play here.
Yeah, I mean, look, either way, I think unless they ban the Genji, we're going to see Goggles try to get a ton of value out of it. Whether they play the dive, whether they play the Domina, whether they play the Sigma, we're going to see Goggles on that Genji unless they want to change something they're not forced to change. And honestly, unless we've got a little bit of a DC here, I think we may end up seeing another switch.
Yeah, possibly. It looks like Nando, who was swapping in for Slasher, maybe DC'd, maybe restarting. But as we're waiting for that, from the New Haven side, what do you think they should ban here?
Gosh, I mean, I don't know. The more I'm thinking about it, I think the most impact, honestly, on that side, especially if we're going to be staying with the tank that we had in the second map, maybe Brig. Um, I don't know. Honestly, it didn't feel like there has been a shining star yet on the side of MSU, and I don't mean to imply that no one has been playing well. I just think they've been playing a very team-heavy play style.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I would say maybe if I was New Haven right now, I would think about banning that Sig, forcing them into a whole different composition. Maybe they have to go back to the Rhine, right? Maybe they try and match that Domino, which I think Winton would prefer, if anything. But it's hard to say because if you're already winning against that Sig, why ban it, right? Why make them forced to try a different comp, which may end up benefiting them? It's really hard to say here, and all we could do is wait and see what they end up choosing. And it looks like Nando's PC did die. It was assassinated, so it might be a couple minutes before we're able to get back in there and check it all out. But I think this is going to be a good map here. They are putting Slasher back in. And we have the first ban coming in from the side of Montclair, banning the Genji. Once again, our analysis is on point. It proves we're never wrong here, and that's why you listen to us. Banning that Genji is probably their best bet.
Totally agree. And look, Steven, I mean, we had about 15 minutes of time to cover on our own with no help. So I would hope we said one thing right at the very least during that. I think it's absolutely the best choice to ban the Genji. We got to see a different look coming out from New Haven. Um, if you can't do it, right? You've got the Sigma, you've got the Brig. If that's not going to be enough, maybe you got to switch your game plans here, right? Go to your bread and butter. Just ban the Genji and move on from there. All you can do is walk forwards here, right? You're down 0-2. There's no going back. There's only going forwards. No matter who you ban, no matter what team comp you run, there's only one path forwards for Montclair here. It's whether they're going to take it or not.
Kyle bringing the inspiration. We do have the next ban coming out from New Haven side banning that Brig. I do like that. Instead of forcing their tank to get off the Sigma and possibly switch up their entire composition, banning the Brig, forcing them onto a different support, I do like. Now, there's a counter argument where if there's no Genji on the field, the Brig is probably going to have less impact anyway. But yeah, please.
I totally agree with you there. I think maybe there's a little bit of a question there since they already banned the Genji, why they're banning the Brig. But I think we have to remember on that last map, that Brig was right in the front line, helping the Sigma push forwards. Maybe that's what they want to avoid. And maybe they're trying to open up something for the Denizen Venture. Maybe they're going to go on. But I think we're just looking to soften up the front line on the side of MSU with that pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, both teams are ready. We're going to be moving into the map in about 20 seconds here. Very excited to see how this plays out. Will Montclair finally take that first win in the series, or will New Haven just clean it up and keep that almost perfect record in NECC? Here we go. 5 seconds, and we're going to see what the first starting compositions for both teams are. Here it is. Kyle, break down what we're seeing.
Immediately we see Goggles on the Vendetta. Now this is fascinating to me.
Oh no.
This is fascinating to me because Vendetta, it seems like has spooked PTSD in the lives of everybody in comp, but unfortunately I think we're gonna see a switch. We're gonna see Goggles play the Sojourn. We're gonna see double DPS ranged heroes here out of Goggles and Denizen. And then we're going to switch back to the Venture. Okay, they've made up their mind finally, and we're going to see Reinhardt versus Domina, which is going to be ranged versus Brawl.
I was so excited to see that Vendetta. We saw what New Haven can do with Vendetta on other maps and scrims, and the first battle is opening up quick. We have Chosen on that Reinhardt, Winton taking a shielded position on that high ground, and Goggles with an amazing headshot first pick onto Kanji, and with that, Winton is able to clear up Roguelite and keep this battle going. Chosen charges in, looking to get a kill on a Goggles, and while he gets it, it is not nearly enough. Denizen taking out Icy, and all that is left is Chosen, which is looking to run away, and Wall of Flesh, who just got picked off by New Haven. That was quick.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Chosen is going to be the Reinhardt here, right? And once again, we're seeing a Brawl with no speed, and yet we're seeing a poke that has the Lucio. I just don't know how this is going to work on such a fast map like Esperanza.
And once again, it's only been one fight, but I'm seeing the same things I saw out of Chosen out of Lijiang. Now, next fight is shaping up here. Winton trying to hold off this interior with the shield. Wow, Montclair is possibly looking to gauge, maybe take that high ground. And they're really disorganized right now. And in that time, Goggles gets another pick onto Kanji. 2-0 in that 1v1 between Goggles and Kanji. Chosen rushing onto point, is able to get Undertaker in a very bad position and clear up the fight, but not before Denizen goes in, takes Wall of Flesh off that high ground, and now New Haven beginning to push in, and the walls are closing in. New Haven clearing Montclair off that point and securing that second fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first push. I'm going to say that was bad by the side of Montclair here. They have to be fast. We talked about it on the first map, and they just got swallowed by the AFK Lucio just capturing the point while all the DPS are raining damage in from the top. It's going to be charge in, pressuring Winton, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We're going to see two Suzus come down, Chosen backing up, Chosen trying to stay up. The path is going to try to get Chosen some space. Finally, they get this Domina off of the point, but is it going to be a little bit too late? Reinhardt going in again. They're trying to get these final kills onside the Domina.
That was good. That path coming in, even with a pick from New Haven, really was able to keep that space from Montclair. And now this fight is opening up once again. We have the high ground from Goggles and Dennison in the backline, able to get a pick with Venture Alt, forcing Chosen to go back, and he gets the charge onto Dennison, but not before Goggles can return the favor, taking out Roguelite. We have a 3v3, 3v4 on the board here in favor of New Haven. Kanji looking to get Goggles off the high ground, and Chosen taking a lot of pressure, having to back out, and it looks like they'll do just that, looking to regroup with the rest of Montclair in New Haven. Gearing up, and a huge block from Winton, blocking Chosen's shatter, path and return, being able to force the remainder of New Haven to push up. Chosen gets a good charge onto Winton to force them not to have that space that they were looking for, and now Mizuki ult to try and sustain Chosen, but he gets picked before it. Slasher, his signature kill in the middle of nowhere, and it looks like New Haven is going to secure this with that Sojourn ult.
I mean, after everything we said going into this match, I think those shatters are the types of things that keep you up at night. We don't have much on the side of Montclair to sustain this role. It's just going to be Ventural. It's just going to be Emerald. We're going to see if maybe they can pull something out of nowhere, but it's the clock is ticking, and there's not much time left.
This is it. We were afraid of a really quick match like this, and we have Emery ult coming out from the side of Montclair. In return, we have a Lucio ult from New Haven, and they're able to take down Icy in that Emery ult, Chosen with a very impactful charge on the Winton. They might be able to confirm that kill. They do, and that might be what they need to hold this from being full capped. Kanji in the backline go, getting two with that Venture ult, and confirms it for Montclair. This isn't the day that they end.
I mean, that Venture ult, it waited a little bit, but that's a season saver. Though I have to say, not a season reviver. You still get a whole match here ahead of you to try to come back here. Literally, backs against the wall. I mean, you practically have to cap the entire objective here, and you've only got two ultimates going into this next match.
Yeah, but that's more than New Haven has. They have nothing here on the board in New Haven. Now, Chosen, a little bit away from his team, charges to get back. We do have Slasher looking for a couple sneaky picks here, maybe forcing some abilities out on the side of Montclair, but not before Goggles goes in for a flank. He's able to get down the Kiriko, but gets killed in return. That's a good pick in my books. Chosen with another great charge on the Winton, forcing Winton back, taking a lot of damage there, but Dennison on the flank again, able to get another, and Slasher also as well, confirming a kill on that Kiriko. This is going to allow Winton to push up and clear up that battlefield.
I mean, these fights by the bridge are going to be torture for Montclair, right? You're playing the Brawl. They have nothing but long-range, hard-fighting DPS, especially with the Domina that's going to be on the point here. You have two choices as a Brawl team. You have to run over that Domina, or you have to take the high ground. It doesn't seem like they're really willing to do either here.
Absolutely, we're looking for a quick fight here. Chosen pushing in with that new Juno orb. Path comes out from both sides here, and this is going to be a quick fight. Dennison able to get a pick, but Reinhardt ult comes in, takes down two. In return, we have a ult on the side of New Haven. We have that Domina ult, but this is just picks back and forth. Chosen able to charge Winton again and confirm that. And it looks like even with everything that New Haven used, Montclair keeps that battle going.
I mean, it feels like with all of these charges on Chosen, every time he touches the shift key, he's putting his entire team's season on the line, and so far it's been nothing but aces. He's connected on this Winton Domina every single time so far, and it's honestly closing the gap better than I ever thought that he would be able to do.
Next battle lining up, Chosen in with his signature charge. Doesn't get anything this time. Is actually pressured out a lot. And then it comes in to keep him up. And also gets Winton on the side of New Haven. Wall of Flesh able to confirm a kill onto Undertaker. And now the Juno ult is coming in to increase the damage and health on the side of Montclair. They're looking to clean this up. And that's exactly what they do. Another pick on the Goggles. And they push the remainder of Montclair back.
I mean, I think Goggles isn't doing bad on this Sojourn, but I really think this Genji ban is coming into play here. It doesn't seem like it's putting enough value in on as a team as the Genji was before.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're leading up to this next fight here. We have ults on both sides, and it looks like we have Goggles trying to get that flank here, but is pushed out. Now Chosen on the point alone is able to get out with the help of a Nana nade and a charge, and this could be anyone's fight now. We have a speed in, trying to pressure out Winton, but a Lucio ult in return. Chosen another charge in, but gets nothing, and now this battle has evolved into chaos. Players all over the board. Icy able to get a pick, though, starting off that fight, and Kanji with another one, securing this fight for Montclair. Kyle, this is back and forth.
I think Icy has started to come alive here so far. He's gotten a ton of very tremendous picks, a ton of 1v1 wins against Goggles, against Denizen, trying to dive into the back line, and now we're going to see 4 ults on the side of Montclair. This is their chance to turn it around.
Absolutely. They were against the wall before this, and it looks like it gave them the energy to try and take it back. As you said, the ults from the side of Montclair are enormous, but they did have a few players go down there, so they're gonna have to take some time, regroup, and go into this next fight with their best foot forward. They're looking to take this flank angle here. We have the entire team of Montclair going behind, possibly opening up with this high noon, and it goes in. It gets blocked, though, but still a giant Reinhardt ult comes in, allowing the DPS of Montclair to clean up this fight. Slasher's able to get a cheeky pick, but it won't be enough to keep Montclair off that point.
We see Domina use her barrier to try and contest the high noon. Not wise when you've got a Reinhardt Shatter just ready to be unleashed upon you. But we're seeing a back cap here.
God.
We're seeing a back cap from Undertaker. He's drawing the push all the way back to the side of M8's Montclair. That's going to waste so much time.
They needed that push there. They needed that. And they had an amazing fight. But Undertaker pushing it all the way back, allowing New Haven to take another fight in the exact same place again.
And now, with the less ults to play with, we've just got Venture and we've just got the Juno Orbital Ray. They're going to have to somehow retake this momentum with just that.
We have Chosen looking to push in here on Winton, but the remainder of his team really isn't with him. They're still trying to set up on this high ground, and Denizen makes that Bastion switch and gets a pick on it, but Chosen, in return, gets a charge onto Winton, isolating him off, but with no help with the remainder of Montclair, Chosen's just going to go down here.
And finally, right when their backs are against the wall, we see the Daemon come out to play. It's Bastion on Denizen getting the opening pick here. I think that's going to be the dagger in the hearts of Montclair as we wind this match down 3-0.
Oh my God. That back cap from Undertaker may have just won them that map. It was crazy. Holy, talk about good Overwatch.
I gotta be honest here. That's about as heartbreaking as it gets.
When I saw it, I screamed. I genuinely screamed. I didn't notice that the entire fight. And then seeing that at the end, it's heartbreaking, but it's good damn Overwatch.
Man, I mean that last map, I don't know how many times I can say it. It feels like a consolation prize, but I actually really liked what I saw from